Hey guys, JCloud here, and if you follow me on Twitter or you seen my YouTube community post the other day, you would know that I announced a small break from YouTube and talked about the reasons why. However, I appreciate every single one of you who are patient with me and said, when I come back from my YouTube break, please do the chapter review on 306 of Black Clover. And of course, there's no way I could miss out on this one. So many parallels, so many reveals in this one. This was definitely by far one of the better chapters this arc, and man, it feels so good to be back. So before we dive into this chapter review, be sure to subscribe with notification bells on and leave a like on this video. Now let's talk about Black Clover Chapter 306, Boundary. Alright, so this chapter begins where we see Yuno holding his Spirit of Eurus bow and arrow, and he finally releases it, and it was so fast to the point where we did not see the bow and arrow go through Zenon at all. It was instant, and I can't lie, honestly, when I saw the hole in Zenon's chest, I couldn't help but to think of Ulquiorra from Bleach. And it's probably due to the fact that I've been watching so much Bleach lately, trying to refresh my mind on all the events of Bleach, so when the anime returns, you'll see JCloud's Bleach content. So anyways, Zenon talks about how fast and precise the bow and arrow was from the attack from Yuno. And honestly, I cannot see Zenon ever dodging something that fast because, yes, he was distracted from Langris, but the speed and the precision of that bow, that is very deadly. And while Zenon is bleeding out, we finally get some flashback from Zenon. The backstory that we all waited for, and I feel like even after reading this chapter, it might not be done yet. So we see young Zenon, his face looks beaten up, and Vanica and Dante, they're asking him, what happened to you? Did you get hurt again? Vanica is calling him a loser. Dante said he's pathetic, and you know what? It makes sense now when Zenon showed up after Dante's defeat, and he said, look at you, you said all of this, and you look hopeless. Zenon probably waited his entire life to say that after being called pathetic and called a loser to his siblings. They imply that Zenon is always getting hurt and getting beaten up. So as older siblings, they should look out for him, but they didn't. They showed no sympathy, no urgency for comfort to help their little brother. But there was one who did. The oldest sibling of the Dark Triad, which was such a crazy reveal. However, we do not have a name for this character, but he tells Zenon, do not worry, you are the one who's most like me. You have a greater aptitude for being a devil host than either Dante and Vanica. So this lets us know that Zenon was stated to have even more talent and more potential for being a devil host than Dante and Vanica. That is crazy. But it makes sense because Zenon always came across as the better sibling. He gets the job done while Dante and Vanica just mess around all the time. We then see Zenon, he's getting bullied by some kids whose fathers are in the Spade Kingdom Mage Defense Force. And they are bullying him because they believe that his bone magic is just gross. They're saying it's disgusting. And since their fathers are in the Defense Force, they feel like they have the authority to get away of hurting Zenon. Then someone screams out saying, what are you talking about? And we see some flame magic separating Zenon and the bully, a character who looks exactly like Asta and Licita. And he yells out saying his magic is different, so what? And all the bullies run away. And we find out that his name is Alan, and I know immediately people thought that this was Asta's father because they look exactly alike. However, Alan looks exactly like Licita, so if your dad looks exactly like your mother, somebody ain't telling the whole truth. I'm just saying. Given the timeline, it wouldn't even make sense for this to be Asta's dad. But ancestor, that's what I'm thinking because there's no way they're not because the personality was off the charts compared to Asta this chapter. This might be a cousin or an uncle. I wouldn't be surprised. After Alan saved Zenon and said that his magic looked strong, we see that these two started to hang out more and became friends. And they talked about that there was constant civil war between the Spade Kingdom and also the Diamond Kingdom keeps trying to invade. And I'm starting to think this is a meme now because the Diamond Kingdom is trying to invade almost every country now, and they always lose. They never successful in their invasions. Yet when they get invaded, you know how that goes. So the Diamond Kingdom should just give up. Just stop. Now we finally get into the mindset of Alan and what his true goals and motives are. He talks about that he wants to be stronger to protect the people who are trembling in fear, to light the fire of hope in this frozen land. I'm going to be the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force. And this was such a Asta moment. The parallels were uncanny. When we saw Asta protect Yuno when he was getting bullied, and after protecting Yuno, we see Asta at the end saying that he is the one that's going to be the Wizard King. Asta inspired Yuno, and when Yuno heard him say that, Yuno said to himself that he is also going to be the Wizard King as well. And the same thing happened here in Zenon's backstory. After hearing Alan saying that he wanted to be, and he's going to be, the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force, Zenon said the exact words. And he said, I guess this makes us rivals. Zenon's backstory with Alan isn't the story of Black Clover. This is Black Spade. Like, Zenon looks so much like Yuno. Alan looks just like Asta. Like, this is literally White Clover. Because they go on to say, let's see which one of us will become the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force. And the way that Tabata has set up the paneling for Zenon and Alan training, it was the spitting image of how Asta and Yuno were training. We are seeing that these two are bringing out the best from each other in their competition to become the commander-in-chief, just like how Asta and Yuno compete to become the Wizard King. So I guess the commander-in-chief of the Spade Defense Force is the equivalent of the Wizard King in the Clover Kingdom. One thing I would like to point out, though, is that we see Zenon, he shows up to his older brother and he said, sorry, brother, but I don't want to be a devil host. I'm not interested. So this lets us know that the oldest sibling was the ringleader and got everyone else involved in forbidden magic and dealing with devils. And we did not see his face at all this chapter, so this lets me know that Tabata has not killed off this character. I think there's more than meets the eye with this character, and he might return in this arc, most likely. But I think we all can confidently believe that he is also a devil host. We also see Alan and Zenon both made into the Spade Kingdom's Mage Defense Force, and they talk about how they are battle ready and that Zenon is a genius with his bone magic, and they were both placed in Division 4 in the Defense Force. And throughout their missions together, there was one mission that we seen in this flashback that they needed to go to immediately. Division 4 needed to go to a dungeon that appeared, and they encountered something in that dungeon that they did not expect. There was a devil sealed in that dungeon. And if I were to guess, I would say that this devil had to be mid-level, mid-rank. But it is interesting that Tabata is going back to the dungeon lore, because I really miss dungeon missions in Black Clover, and I'm glad that he expanding the lore of dungeons. They just suddenly appear, and also devils being involved into the dungeons. I hope in the future we get another dedicated arc that involves a dungeon. We then see Zenon, and he talks about that he needs to figure out to defeat this devil, and he's going to use a ultimate spell and put in all his magic attack into this one bone strike that he can do. The problem is that this devil isn't leaving any openings, but while Zenon he's thinking this through, we then see Alan, and he goes on to say, I'm going to be the commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force, and he goes charging in with a flame sword ready to do a final strike. Just looks even more like Asta with a sword. But then Zenon he starts to yell at Alan, telling him to get back, you're going to die. However, Zenon thought about something. Something clicked in his head. As he sees Alan charging him with his sword, ready to strike the devil, Zenon thought that this is a perfect opportunity. This is his only chance for the devil to leave an opening for him to strike. However, he will kill the devil and also Alan at the same time. But he believes if he doesn't strike, everyone here in this dungeon will die. And not only that, but this madness will spread into the Spade Kingdom and also kill the people in the near town. He was hesitating, deciding on whether he should kill this devil with Alan or die along with Alan in this dungeon. Does he kill the devil, in the process killing his own best friend, or do he save and protect everyone in the country? And he chose the country. Zenon truly did not want to do this. This decision and the outcome for it completely changed Zenon's personality forever. This changed his outlook on life. He goes on to say, without power, neither emotion or tenacity mean a thing. The weak should be discarded. And we see Zenon, he is crying so hard, and this was one of Tabata's best art panelings that I have ever seen. And the dialogue is so perfect because it resonates to what kind of man Zenon is currently now. In chapter 274, he told the Spade soldiers that are with Ralph, he said, you guys are not Spade citizens. That title is reserved to the strong. So this lets us know that Zenon felt weak during those moments. He had to kill his best friend just to kill a devil. He wasn't worthy of being strong. The power that he had at that time just wasn't enough. Overwhelming power is everything, and we see that he goes back to his brother and he says, big brother, I want to be a devil host. This was the time when Zenon went back to his brother. Before, he said he wasn't interested in being a devil host, but now Zenon believes that he is, because if a devil is that strong, the only way to defeat a devil is the power of a devil. And the chapter ends off with Zenon calling his devil name, which is Beelzebub, and he says, let's make a deal. And that was the end of the chapter, and Tabata has been doing a terrific job for the backstories ever since the time skip has started. But one thing that stood out for me was Nox's backstory, but now ZENON'S, and I'm now curious what that deal is going to be. But I got a deal for you. If you subscribe to the channel with notification bells on, you'll see more Black Clover content right into your YouTube feed. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves. Stay blessed, and I'm out.